D-Lo 404 Boxing. Shout out to the LDBC. Shout out to Marlowe's Corner. Shout out to Trey X and the whole block fam. Hey, if you gonna be watching the fight tomorrow night, or not watching the fight, either way, come over to Marlowe's Corner. Listen to Trey X. Do the blow-by-blow commentary. Marlowe's gonna be at the fight. He says he's gonna be live on the corner as well from the fight in Staples. So it ought to be a treat. It's always a treat for me anytime I'm over there on the corner. So y'all come on through and check it out. Anyway, about the fight, I came on earlier, made a video. I was talking about basically what I was talking about in that video was the false bravado that I felt that Shawn Porter was displaying, and some were perceiving it as confidence. I did not. And I said that I was going to come back after the weigh-in and do a final breakdown, which I've already done a breakdown earlier this month, about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. And I said that I didn't anticipate changing anything, but I did want to do a final breakdown after the weigh-in, because you see some things sometimes at a weigh-in that tell you a little more about what the fight, that kind of tip you in a certain direction as to what the fight may look like. All right. So, the weigh-in, what I saw in that weigh-in, Shawn Porter did not miss weight like he did against Ugas, and he had to try like 3 attempts to make weight. He did not miss weight. He was on 147 on the head. So did Errol Spence. Errol Spence Jr. is a taller fighter. And I will say that even though Errol Spence Jr. was the taller fighter with the bigger frame, and they both weighed in at 147, Shawn Porter being the more diminutive fighter, smaller guy, he looked dry. He looked weight drained. Errol Spence looked healthier at hitting 147 than did Shawn Porter. What I take from that is the deal with him struggling to make weight for the Ugas fight was not a one-off. It was not an anomaly. I think Shawn Porter is gonna. I think Shawn Porter, although he made weight, I think he genuinely struggled to get down to this 147, despite what he was saying in front of the cameras every time he got interviewed. I think Porter, and this is, and I hate to even get into this, because it almost takes away from what I'm gonna say about how I think the fight plays out. Because I'll be upfront and honest. I mean, it's cut to the chase. I don't want this video to go on too long. I'm actually driving, going to go pick my son up for the weekend. I'm actually gonna give him a car. He doesn't know that yet, though. But anyway, as far as Shawn Porter and the weight deal, I still feel the same way I felt prior to seeing the weigh-in. I said before, I thought Errol Spence Jr. was going to stop Shawn Porter. I still feel that way. I do feel that way more so after seeing the weigh-in, because that fight is a little over 24 hours away. I know Errol Spence and Shawn Porter both got time to hydrate and get themselves in the fight, get themselves fight ready, put a little weight on, get the energy up. But when a fighter comes in looking like Shawn Porter, he may not be able to get himself enough nourishment before the fight. But we'll see. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act as if I've seen every single Shawn Porter weigh in and he's never looked like that before, because I haven't. You know, I've seen probably all of his fights since he arrived on the big level. You know what I'm saying? But, and even some when he was still a prospect, many of them actually. But I didn't watch all the weigh-ins. So I'm not gonna say he's never looked like that in a weigh-in. I don't know. But I will say that it doesn't look good to me from my vantage point. As for the fight, I almost feel like I'm just restating everything from my previous video from a few weeks ago, but here it goes. All I keep hearing is Shawn Porter talk about all these different strategies that he has for the fight. If this doesn't work, I'm gonna go to this. If that doesn't work, I'm gonna go to that. We got several game plans. I'm telling y'all, if you listen to this video, I'm telling y'all, if you heard my breakdown of the Ugas fight after it happened, I said Shawn Porter had too many ideas in that fight. He didn't know what he wanted to do. When one thing wasn't working, he went to something else, and it looked worse. And then he go back to what he's originally doing. And it's like, I feel like this is going to be a replay against Errol Spence Jr. The only thing is, Errol Spence is going to apply relentless pressure. He's not going to posture like Ugas was doing. When Ugas, one thing he did wrong, and I felt like he won that fight. I felt like he won that fight convincingly. But one thing he did do was he'd admire his work when he done good work against Shawn Porter, instead of keeping the pressure on him. Errol Spence Jr. does not do that. Errol Spence Jr. applies pressure. Kind of like in a way that Antonio Margarito used to do. Don't get it wrong. I'm not saying Errol Spence Jr. Is on the level skill-wise of Margarito, when in fact, I feel like from a skill standpoint, Errol Spence Jr. Is levels above what Margarito was in terms of skills, ring intelligence, and things you could do in the ring. But Margarito was a pressure fighter who applied constant pressure at that weight level at 147. So, and Paul Williams also, to an extent, he did the same thing, but Paul just didn't fight tall. Margarito actually fought tall, did a better job fighting tall than Paul Williams did. But Paul Williams was a volume puncher, would throw 1,000 punches a fight, 100 punches a round, and just keep coming. You know, keep that jab in your face. You know, so I think Errol Spence Jr. is going to, his volume of punches, his pressure, his punch placement is going to be too much for Errol Spence Jr. I hear all this talk about Errol Spence Jr. foot movements. I mean, his foot quickness, foot placement, and so forth against southpaws. I'm telling you, I'm not buying it against Errol Spence. I seen that against some other guys. Devin Alexander that jumps out at me. That was brought up by Trey X, of course. Shout out to Trey X. He's always looking back at these fights, breaking down fighters, and really making good assessments. I just think that I think you can't even call Errol Spence Jr. a super Devin Alexander. He is a super duper Devin Alexander in terms of what he does in the ring with foot placement, intelligence, punch placement, and just relentless pressure. I think that Shawn Porter is going to run out of ideas, and at that point, he's going to get run over. I think that this fight gets stopped within 7 to 8 rounds. I don't think it's going to be a knockout in terms of not being knocked out cold. I think it's going to be a corner stoppage or a referee stoppage. I wouldn't be surprised if Kenny Porter throws the bucket in the ring, the towel, the stool, whatever he has to do to get the ref's attention to stop this fight. But I think at some point, Shawn Porter's going to run out of gas. Errol Spence Jr. is not going to stop coming, and they're going to have to stop that fight to prolong Shawn Porter's career. That's my take on it. It's D-Lo 404 Boxing. Shout out to the LDBC. I look forward to this fight. I will be tuning in. I will be on the corner with the Block fam, and I hope to see you guys out on there as well. Peace. I'm out.